pitch. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball. Brad Lynch does it again and stays perfect for the 2008 season. 48 for 48 in save opportunities, and let the city celebrate.
Aloha and hello out there, everybody. What's going on? This is Miho, joined as always by my co-host Pags, and we are back as promised to talk to you guys about the Fightin' Phils.
Yes, we are, and we have a series sweep.
It's just what the doctor ordered, Pags. You called it. You said I need 2 out of 2 in Detroit, and if you zoom out just a little bit, a 4-1 road trip overall after taking 2 of 3 in Pittsburgh.
Oh, nice. Nice little win streak here going into a big series against the Braves.
Oh, my goodness, man. And we will get to that as we preview the weekend at the end of the show. But for now, let's dive into the baseball we had because the Phils and Tigers almost treated us to 3 games worth of baseball in 2 games worth of action.
That first game, man, I was out in Chicago, so I was an hour behind. I look at 11 o'clock. I'm like, oh, the Phils are definitely done. Flip it on. Nope. 15th inning. I was like, holy crap. How is our bullpen holding up?
Literally, they had a 2-run home run by Roman Quinn in the 2nd inning to take a 2-1 lead. The Tigers came back to tie it in the bottom of the 6th, and then nobody scored again until the 15th inning.
Unbelievable, man. I'm looking at the box score right now, and Kingery 1 for 7, Hoskins 2 for 5 with 2 walks. And we were getting 7 at-bats apiece here.
Dude, and I'm going to be honest with you. Once you get to 6 at-bats in a game, the longest game I ever played, I think, was 14 innings. And once you get to that 6th at-bat, if you have like a hit or two and you're like, I'm 2 for 6, you're like, God damn it, if I don't get a hit here, I'm 2 for 7. My average is going to freaking drop today, and I got 2 hits. What the heck?
Yeah, man. That's what Rhys Hoskins was thinking at the end of the game there.
Yeah, he was 1 for 4 at that point. He's going, man, I need a hit to raise my average.
Spoil another start against Nola. Nola doesn't get the win, only gives up 1 run, so 1 earned run, I guess I should say.
Yes.
And Nick Pivetta comes in for 3.2 innings and pitches pretty well. 5
strikeouts, man. He was impressive to watch. I know you were watching the Gamecast version of the game, so you couldn't see him throw, but it was almost as if he unleashed the beast. Like, he wasn't saving anything, knowing he's trying to go deep into the ball game. And at the point when he came in, I believe it was the 8th or 9th inning. So high leverage situations and high innings, but he's thinking this is only going to go 9. I'm in here 2 innings or so. And he was pumping, dude. And that curveball was nasty. And he was finally able to throw it where it looked like a strike and then dipped out of the zone as opposed to just being a ball out of the hand and nobody's really looking at it. So it was very, very encouraging what you got out of Nick Pivetta. And it was one of those, the reason they moved him was because they had said, we've had a look at Velasquez in the bullpen. Now we want to get a look at Pivetta, even though you probably should have just moved Velasquez back. Well, it pissed off Pivetta, man, and he's 1 for 1 in outings since then because it was dominant 3 2/3.
Well, let's hope he can keep that up. And let's get into the meat and potatoes of this game. 14th inning. First off, were you up for it?
I was, man. It was actually a night I was up editing until about 11:30, and then the game wasn't over. So I'm like, okay, cool. I can ride this for another inning or 2. And then the 14th, the bottom of the 14th, I think the Tigers got like their first guy on or 2nd and 3rd, I think it was. And I was like, all right, well, this game's over, so I might as well just watch it end here. And then all of a sudden, Miller from left field decides to throw a cannon to home plate, and we're going to play on.
Yeah, I listened to it from the Tigers side of it because I was catching it on the ESPN highlights. And they're like all pumped up. the guys rounded third. They're like, oh, yeah. And then the color guy, all of a sudden you hear, oh, no. And then he gets dug out. And it was like, yep, that must be how Tigers fans think about this.
Well,
year.
Miller doesn't even have a strong arm, so everybody in the park and everybody watching didn't think there was a shot here, but you know he's going to give every ounce he has into it, and it was a little bit up the line. JT made a nice catch, came back to the left, swiped the tag, and when they zoomed in, it was bang, bang, but gosh darn it, man, he was out.
Yeah, good call by the umpire. Really looking in there, getting a good position to see the tag. That's how we do.
Oh, we need to do an updated MLB pod because I got umpire questions for you, good sir.
Oh, man. that'll be a good one. But, hey, Reese comes in. Hits a single, we get the win.
Yeah, Kingery tripled before him, singled in Kingery, and, dude, steal a win from the worst team in baseball. It's like, oh my God, what are we doing?
A win's a win, my man.
Yeah, but 2 runs in 14 innings, and they came from a home run from Roman Quinn against the Tigers? Like, I know we were facing Boyd, who's a trade candidate, and he doesn't stink, but still, man, sometimes this offense just gets so frustrating. Like you said, you look at the box score. How many 1-for-7s, 0-for-7s can you throw up there in a game?
And, hey, when they do get cold like that, good thing we still sneak out a win there. This team's resilient.
Kudos to the bullpen.
And Alvarez goes and pitches 2 innings and gets the win. So
his turnaround's been pretty amazing, man. I used to cringe watching him throw, and now I'm like, hey, this guy's one of our better pitchers.
And then they go and they play a 1 o'clock game the next day.
Yeah, 13 hours later, we got ourselves a first pitch. That's where people don't understand sometimes what these major leaguers go through. I mean, let me break it down for you last night, right? Game ends at Eastern time, 12:30. By the time they talk to the media, shower, eat up, it's 1 o'clock. They hop on the bus. They get back to the hotel, whether how close they are, 1:15, 1:30. Oh, by the way, now you got to get something to eat. So you're either getting room service or Uber Eats from somewhere. That's coming at about 2 o'clock. You're probably getting to bed about 2:30, and you got to be up and packed everything out of your room because, oh, by the way, you're going right from the ballpark to the airport. So you have to have everything together, you, your wife, whoever is with you, and out of the room by probably about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the next morning to be ready to go again and win a Major League Baseball game.
That's a brutal stretch right there.
That's where people, oh, it's not hard. They play 162. But it's like, yeah, sometimes, though, it's pretty freaking grueling to play 24 innings of baseball over the course of a total of 16 hours.
It's a freaking grind, man, and pretty impressive that some of these pitchers can come back in there and pitch again the next day. Because, look, you're not getting much break there. So
Hector Neris with 2 days. Yeah, spoiler alert there. Sorry to jump over you, but Hector Neris, one inning, 2 strikeouts, game 1, 1 inning, 3 strikeouts, game 2. Very impressive from a guy who's still pending a suspension, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, that'll come eventually. So hopefully it doesn't come over the weekend against the Bravos. But
yeah, right.
Overall,
we need him.
Very encouraging week for the Phils, and hopefully it leads to it because 4-0 win. The bats got going a little bit. Harper gets the day off, and we still get a win there. And our pitchers throw scoreless innings. So
yeah, Kapler and the guys talked about how important it was to get Bryce a day because he's only missed 1 other game yet to this date. And with them playing the American League, you could take either Realmuto, Hoskins, or Harper and move them around and still have their bat in the lineup. So what they did is moved Realmuto to first to get him off his feet behind the dish, and then they were able to plug Hoskins into the DH role, which really helped them save a couple of guys. And with off days in between, before and after the series, they're going to be as fresh as they've ever been going into this Braves series. And that's why they were able to use some of these bullpen arms and not ultimately have to look into the future too far due to the off days and the rest that the guys will accumulate.
All right. Why don't we dive into this weekend? Because 5.5 back as of today. Looks like the Nationals are going to win another game. So 2 back of the Nationals. This is a pretty big one this weekend.
Big series at home. The biggest series since 2012, Bags. I don't know if we've said that before on this podcast, but
yeah.
If you haven't heard it, that's what we got going on here. And The arms that we have going from our side, if you take the Braves completely out of the equation, are probably the three arms in the rotation you would want going in a big series. Not in the correct order, but with Arrieta, Eflin, and Nola, good or bad, those have probably been our three best starters year to date.
That's what it's looking like, and the Braves are sending their stud to the mound in Mike Soraka, so it's going to be interesting. See if it seems like every time I look at the box score with Jake, he gets five innings, and that's about it.
Well, dude, since we've heard about the Bone Spurs, it's the best he's pitched. I mean, he hasn't gone deep into games, but I think he gave up 1 run and no runs or 2 runs or something like that. It's like, oh, man, maybe you should pitch with Bone Spurs and just not throw that hanging breaking ball 24/7.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe the Braves are on a little bit of a skid here.
That's the other news story coming into this weekend, is Atlanta has dropped 6 of their last 8, and the last 2 to Kansas City, where they were shut out yesterday in the last game of the series. So their offense has gone a little bit cold. Now, they always seem to wake up when it comes to Citizens Bank Park, so that does concern me that these guys will come in here and just get hot again. But in all honesty, you couldn't have asked for a better scenario in the past week leading up, because even a few days ago, the Phils were 8 games out, and now, like you said, 5.5. So even if you do take 2 out of 3, 4.5, you're in it, man, when before you would have needed a sweep to get to that mark.
Yeah, like I talked about in the last podcast, we got winnable games coming up, winnable series. So this series is huge. Take 2 of 3 of the Braves, and let's get our eyes on that wild card / division race coming up into August.
That's it. All right, Pags, one last trip into your crystal ball here before we wrap things up. We take 2 of 3 from the Braves this weekend. We then have an off day Monday, 2 days before the trade deadline. There's going to be action that Monday. What is that action?
I believe they grab Minor from the Rangers.
Oh, man, that's a lofty belief.
That's what I'm hoping for, man. And if I'm not mistaken, my crystal ball has been pretty clear lately, so let's hope it keeps hitting.
As the names start to break down, dude, Minor is one of the only ones I think that they're going to go after. I don't think Bumgarner is going to move from San Francisco based on their recent push here over the last month and being right back in the playoff race, with Bruce Bochy also being on his last hurrah, retiring after this year. I think they're going to keep that team together. Matthew Boyd in Detroit, I think Detroit's going to want too much for just an above-average guy and not a great starter. And I think the most realistic options are the 2 guys out in Arizona. I think Zach Greinke potentially could be. The only thing with him is I don't think he's going to want to come. I think the Phillies want him, but I don't think he's going to approve a trade, and we are on his no-trade list that he has earned with that contract. So the other gentleman, and nobody's really talked about, you have seen his name, but it hasn't really gone mainstream yet, is Robbie Ray, the left-handed starter for the Diamondbacks. I think the Phillies are going to talk about Minor. His price is going to be a little too high, or they're going to be outbid by somebody who's going for broke, and then they're going to settle on Robbie Ray, which to settle, quote-unquote, on Robbie Ray, depending on the price, which I don't think would be super, super high, will help them not only this year, but into the future, which is the window area where they're going to be.
All right. Well, I like that as well. So I'll be very interested to see what happens, and it's all going to depend on how this series plays out.
That's for sure, man. If they dump 3, all of what we just said goes completely out the window, and you could have just fast-forwarded through it. So, our bad. No pressure, Phils. But all you fans out there, let us know who you want the Phils to pick up. Give us a call, 484-238-0735. Let us know if you think Mike Minor is realistic, or if I'm completely wrong and Mad Bum's going to show up here in a week.
We'll see what happens. I'm excited, and go Phils. Later, guys.
Peace.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball. Brad Lynch does it again and stays perfect for the 2008 season. 48 for 48 in save opportunities. and let the city celebrate.